Hey everyone, how are you? How are you doing? Hopefully well. Thank you guys for liking the live stream. I appreciate that. Hi Oreo. Oh, it's been a minute since I've seen you. How are you? Amira, I feel like May 13th is fine, but you may want to start sooner than that. I'm not sure why you want to wait, but I feel like it would be a good idea to start this as soon as possible. Martha, I am getting a no. I have the devil. So I feel like he's thinking maybe he's not having a good day, or he feels like the world is out to get him. Maybe he's just like not doing well today. So Indira, I have judgment. This means as long as you make all the right decisions, you should become a flight attendant without any issues, but you have to be making the right choices and taking those call to actions to get you there. It's not just going to happen to you. You have to make sure you're working for it. Oreo cookies. I have a yes. 6 of Cups. This person wants to reconcile or will want to reconcile. Daya, I have that his feelings are Ace of Cups. He's wishing for a new start with you. General career MMC, I have 10 of Pentacles. I feel like your mission in life with your career needs to be finding something that provides you long-term stability. 10 of Pentacles talks about retirement, so it's really important that you focus on building up your IRA account or your retirement fund and finding a job that's going to help build you for that future. That needs to be your main focus, is finding a career that puts you in a place that provides financial stability. Maybe this is an indication you're going to live a long life. I'm not sure, but I feel like that's important for you to focus on right now. A career, something that you can do long term that's going to help contribute to your future in some way to provide that stability. Make sure you guys are not posting multiple questions. It's one question per person. If you change your mind on the question that you post, I may not see it. However, because I use StreamYard and it does not delete your messages. So I will be answering the first question of yours that I see. So make sure you're absolutely sure before you post that that is the question that you want answered. You're welcome, Amira. Gina, I am getting a yes. Maybe this is a good day for love. I have the 4 of Wands. Ritu, I feel like you're gonna have a good time. I feel like by the end of meeting him, you're still not gonna be 100% sure, but I think that the actual interaction with this person is gonna be a lot of fun. I have this sun here, so I do think you're gonna enjoy yourself. El Burrow, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? You're welcome, Indira. So El Burrow, I am getting a yes. I have the strength card. So I feel like that's still a strong option. I feel like this will happen. General, for this week, kindness, focus on what makes you happy. It's important that you are taking some time to yourself to do things that you feel good about. I think that it's really easy to get wrapped up in negativity. So when you focus on doing things that bring you joy or happiness is going to be important this week. So maybe not worry about the chores, maybe not worry about the extra responsibilities this week, and allow yourself to indulge, eat some good food, watch a couple extra TV shows, read a good book, whatever makes you happy. Focus on that this week, not so much everything that you have to do that's feels like a hassle or a responsibility. Kayla, I feel like this person has hope that you like them. I'm not sure if they like you or not, but I feel like they would. I feel like they do with this card. You could donate for us to look into this further. I feel like they are inspired by you, and they're excited to know you, and that you do make them feel like some type of hope. So I feel like there could be some feelings there. I definitely would want to dig into that a little more. Dodger, yes, you may ask a question. All you have to do is post it. You're welcome, Indira. Daisha, my advice here is to put the focus back on yourself and not worry about other people. I have the Five of Swords in the Tower. If you're constantly worrying about others or comparing yourself to other people, you will feel defeated. The Five of Swords and the Tower indicates a negative or negativity around you, and feeling like you want to win at all costs, no matter what happens, no matter if you lose yourself in the process. So my advice here is to focus just on yourself and your own happiness. I feel like karma is real, so let karma get them and don't worry about being that person that is trying to make sure that you're beating out. You know what I mean? I know you said you want to be blessed in front of them, but I feel like there's some type of like vengeance that you might are trying to assert with this question. So I feel like spirit's just saying, worry about your blessings, don't worry about who your blessings are being shown to, and just be grateful for what you have in the moment, and don't worry too much about other people. Dodger. Dodger, I have a no. I have the Tower here. This indicates that this connection is not stable at the moment. Lotus bean. Lotus bean, I am getting a yes. I have the 7 of Wands. So this indicates that it's important that you're welcome, Daisha. You're welcome, Dodger. It's important that you stand your ground. Maybe this is a time where you guys are going to kind of butt heads with one another because maybe there's reality hasn't quite set in with your dad, that there are things you're going to need to do on your own, learn the hard way, figure out for yourself. And I feel like his perception of you just doesn't really change. There's like this feeling of like, if you have something that you need to tell him, or you need to express your feelings to him in a certain way, or get some things off of your chest or whatever it is, you're at that place to do that now. And 7 of Wands indicates standing your ground and not backing down, not retreating. No matter how much resistance you get from his side of things, it's important that you set that boundary or make that clear, like, line that he shouldn't cross, or that you feel is, like, if you feel like he's overstepping, or I don't know, there's just some indication of stand your ground. This was important. This was something that needed to happen. Amy. Amy, I am getting a yes. I have the 10 of Pentacles. I feel like when you're hurting, especially over him, I feel like it is something that he knows about. Holly, just ask your question. Thank you for asking in advance, though. Jennifer. Thank you for the new sub, Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm having a hard time seeing this as far as like timing. I think that you can definitely make it work, but it's going to require a lot from you. I have the 10 of Wands, so this indicates like feeling very much like the world is on your shoulders. You feel like everyone's relying on you or counting on you to make this happen. You're not really able to receive help from anyone else. This is all on you to get this taken care of. I do see with the 9 of Pentacles that this will pay off. Your hard work will pay off. Intuitively, it feels like May might be too soon. However, I think that you can make it happen with just strictly based on your willpower. But it is going to require a lot of effort from you. So if you're wanting something a little bit easier, maybe don't put that timeline on yourself unless you're in a situation where you're like, in danger, that you need to get out, then do what you got to do. But if you are able to wait a little while, it might be easier for you to do that and wait, and then get what you're looking for maybe in a couple of months. So Fancy Nancy, I have a yes. I have 8 of Wands, indicates like incoming communication. Holly, Spirit is saying hold on to this job for now, but I do feel like eventually this is going to be something you'll want to, or you'll need to replace. But Spirit is saying right now, hold on to this. Don't walk away from this job that you have. Not yet. Not until at least you have something else set in motion. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and slow down the free list with subs only. So we're gonna work on some readings now. for people who are subs only. Infinity, I have no. I don't think this person finds you annoying, Knight of Swords. They might find that you're a little bit intense, but I don't think that they feel you're annoying. You're welcome, Lotus. Firefly, I'm getting a no. The Devil, I don't think this person knows. Jennifer Simpson, you're welcome. Glad that that makes sense for you. Holly, that's so cool. Congratulations. That is amazing. Do you use any tools of divination, or is it just intuitive reading? You're welcome, Infinity. Hey, Ray. Welcome, Firefly. SB, I just saw your donation. We're ready for you if you want to go ahead and get started. Holly, that's awesome. Well, if you feel so inclined to start a YouTube channel and do more of those, I think that that would be great, especially if you're looking for an additional form or alternative form of income. That would be a really great thing to get started. I find social media to be a great place to meet people and read for people. How do you clear your energy? I was drained afterwards. So when I first started practicing, I had really good energetic hygiene. I feel like now I've been doing this for so long, I think I'm on autopilot and I know how to like turn things off. So initially there were a couple different ways. You're gonna feel tired. I mean every person presents differently. Like I get really hungry. I'm not gonna lie. I can get tired, but I get hungry. But you might get sleepy. So essentially you just want to start the reading with an intention to work with like your guides or your spiritual team. Once you form that rapport with them, I don't think it's necessary to do this every single time, but you can always thank them or thank them during the readings for the assistance. But I think it's important to start off with some type of intentional ritual, like a prayer or lighting incense or like Palo Santo, something along those lines. And then afterwards, you can ask for your spiritual team to disconnect you from any energies that are not your own. You can ask for guidance and help. A lot of people work with angels, like archangels and stuff. You can ask for their assistance, especially if you feel like you still have some stagnant energy attached to you or associated with you. But a really good way to kind of, if you're a visual person, is that before you go into a reading, you think of like the fact that you're turning on a light switch in your head, or you're turning a sign in a restaurant window from closed to open or open to close. So you either can turn a light switch off on and off in your head, or open and close sign, or something that's like meaningful to you that indicates, okay, I'm ready to receive information. And then at the end of the reading, you're like, I'm closing the doors, I'm locking the doors, I'm turning the light off, that kind of thing. I know some people who, especially mediums, they have like waiting rooms, if that makes sense. Hey, Rising. So they say that like when they're doing mediumship for people, they have waiting rooms and people will wait their turn to like come through. So I figured that was like pretty interesting. But I think those are specifically really good for clairvoyant people. If you are more like feeling, and you're more like earthly, like especially if you're like an earth sign, fire sign, air sign. Actually, it could be anything, but I feel like it just depends on what feels right to you. You can do physical rituals in front of you. You can do mental. I feel like if you're a air sign, especially, you can do mental, turning on and turning off. Meditation's really good. Sound healing is really good to cleanse yourself. But if you need like a visual, if you need like a tangible thing to do, then I would say Palo Santo. When I was doing readings before, I would always light a candle when I was ready to start, and I would blow it out when I was ready to be done. That really helped me like kind of turn on and turn off, was a candle being lit and a candle being blown out. So you just kind of have to feel what's right for you. These are a lot of examples, but just what you do is not wrong. Just keep that in mind. Whatever feels right to you is never going to be wrong. God's daughter, my free list is actually done, my friends. I know you tried to get here early. You did your thing, God's daughter. You really tried to get here as early as you could, and I do see that. But you got to get here like basically when my live stream starts. So, you got to get here even earlier than that. Rising, let me add you to the donation list, okay? I remember that we have a donation from last time, so let me add ya. So, God's daughter, I do a live stream for the first 15 minutes of every live stream. Sometimes it goes to like 20 minutes occasionally if I get behind. But basically, as soon as you see a notification for my channel, you have to get here. Like, you have to join as soon as that notification comes through. Like, don't wait. Don't hesitate to, come in even before I start my live stream. Once you see that I'm on or I'm about to go live, or you get that notification that I just started a live stream, make sure that you join in immediately, because it's only for 15 minutes that it's free. That's just the perk of getting here early and having your notifications turned on. Because I do donations after that. Holly said, yes, my friend is a tarot reader. She let me practice on her page. She was really nice. That's so awesome. Okay, thanks. I did call my energy back and remove the negative energy. I think that's fine. I think whether it's a physical practice, a mix of the two, a mental practice, whatever feels right to you, I think that's great. You know what I mean? Just do whatever feels right to you. I just threw out a bunch of examples because I thought maybe one of them might like catch your attention and make it seem like something you might want to end up trying. Rising Storm, thank you so much. I did get that. So let's get started with SB for 2 questions. It was helpful. I appreciate it. You're welcome. You're very welcome. All right, SB, we're shuffling for you now. SB, absolutely. That's perfectly fine. So SB, the 8 of Pentacles and the Hangman keep trying to come through. So kind of what I see with that is this really got his thought process going. I also see the 3 of Swords. I feel like it triggered him to think I want to try harder here. Like, I think that this affected him on an emotional level. I'm actually getting chills right now, so I think that I'm on to something. I feel like this made things feel very bittersweet for him. I think this brought up some regrets in the decisions that he's made. I think that he feels a little bit of a hole in his heart that you guys weren't able to make it work, like, basically since he was really, really young. Um, kids want most of the time want their parents together, and so I feel like all it did was bring up a lot of those insecurities and those, uh, remorseful, regretful feelings that maybe he's always had. It just kind of brought it up to the surface, and I think there was maybe like some pain associated with it because I saw the Three of Swords. It kind of like stopped him in his tracks. Hangman kind of made him feel a little bit paralyzed at the thought that, your son he wants you guys to be together. I think that it's kind of just like putting a name to putting a name to the fears that he's had. Um, all along. I think that he regrets the choices and actions that he's made. I think it's things that he's thought or things that he's wondered, but actually hearing it out loud and like, knowing now that it's not just something that he's maybe crossed his mind here and there. It's like hearing that your child wants this thing, I think has really affected him deeply, honestly. And I think that it's kind of made him feel like, oh, maybe I should work on this. Maybe this is something that we really should be, trying to do. But I think that it makes him wonder, like, is this the right thing? Because I can't just do this just because my son wants it. I have to make sure it's something that I want too. Not that he doesn't, but I think he just wants to be sure. He wants to know. And I think that there's a fragility to this dynamic because his son is older now. It's not like, you know, this is a baby and you guys are just trial and erroring together. It's like the acknowledgement is that his son wants it. It's putting extra pressure on him now too, because he knows, like, if he tries, he can't really go back from that. That's kind of like a big deal. And I feel like he's thinking to himself, if I make this attempt, if I make this jump, it's now or never. It's not something that I can keep dragging my feet on. It's something that I would actually have to like jump in and be all in with. Because my son will see it now, he'll know it now, and he'll set his hopes up for this thing. So I feel like he's like, I don't want to lead my kid on either. So I feel like SB, there's like this message that I'm getting right now where if you guys do try this thing, he'll honestly not want your son to be a part of it, even though that's really hard to do. He's essentially going to want you guys to keep this private and not tell him about it, not tell your kid about it until like later on. He's going to want to so I almost feel like he's going to want to like date you in secret, because he'll want you guys to come to your son together once you know for sure. I just don't think that he wants to hurt anyone any further. I think he doesn't want to get his own hopes up. I don't think he wants to get your son's hopes up. I feel like, there's a huge part of him that wants to be a family and wants to tell your son right away, wants to give your son like what he wants. You know what I mean? Um, and I think that he wishes he was in a place where he could say, yes, let's do this thing, and be 100% certain and tell your son immediately, and all will be right with the world. But I think that he's trying to be realistic at the same time. So it was a surprise. It was a shock. It was bittersweet. It was so nice to hear. It was a very like fantastical, enjoying thought to think about. It was like something really fun to fantasize about and ruminate on. But at the same time, it was like a gut punch because I think that it brought up all of these feelings that I feel like maybe he's been avoiding all this time. Um, so it was a lot of things. I think he just was feeling quite a bit here. I mean, overall, it's good. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that your kid wants you guys to be together. It's a good feeling to know that your kid loves you both enough that he would want you guys to be together, because it shows that your son doesn't want to be without you, doesn't want you to be without them, wants you guys to be together and be a happy unit and be a family. And feeling that support from your child for your relationship is a really good feeling, and it's nice. So I think that there was a level of happiness associated with it too. This was just a very complex thing, I feel, and these are all the things I'm kind of channeling right now. You said you had a call and it was bittersweet. You had a call yesterday. Yeah. All right. First question of the BOGO. What does he want the outcome to be between he and I? Okay. What does the Aries want the outcome to be? Yes, the free list is closed, guys. Sorry. All right, what does the Aries want the outcome to be? What does the Aries want the outcome to be? Yeah, I don't know. I keep getting this like, I want to date you. Not in secret, because I don't want to hide our relationship, but I feel like he just doesn't want to drag your son's emotions along for the ride. Like, while you guys are figuring things out, it's not fair to put him through that. And so I just keep getting that message. What does he want the outcome to be? What does he want the outcome to be? Wow. He's ready. I feel like he wants to transition into like a new chapter with you. I have the Six of Swords. Main thing of importance is that you're happy and that your son is happy and that he's happy himself. The Aries. He wants things to be easier for you guys. Like no more hardships, problems, complications. Not, I mean, that's a part of life, obviously, but like as limited as possible. I feel like he's saying, I want enjoyment with you. I feel like honestly, his ultimate fantasy would be that you guys get back together and have another kid together, to be honest. I'm getting that message. I feel like he would be like, because I feel like your son, is like that joining tether between the two of you. But I think feeling that new fresh life and new fresh love, bringing new life into the world together would really just like solidify things. So I feel like his ultimate fantasy would be you guys get back together, you feel those in love feelings, and you guys have another kid and like complete your family. For some reason, I feel like there's that there, but he wants things to get easier for you guys. Essentially, like his main priority is that you guys are getting along, that you're seeing eye to eye and things feel easier and breezier between the two of you, and that you guys have a fondness for one another. I think it goes beyond co-parenting. I think he doesn't want to just be cordial or civil with you. I think he wants you guys to have a fondness for one another and truly support each other and truly care about one another. Even if it never gets to like your get back together stage, I think that he doesn't want to just be just like this co-parent with you. I think he wants to feel that support from you, um, that adoration from you, admiration from you, and he wants that respect to be mutual. He basically just wants you guys to feel a fondness for one another, and I do think that he's picking up on that. Like, door is a little bit cracked there for that to happen. And I think right now, like, he's just focused on repairing, and feeling comforted and warmth in each other's company. That's very important to him. So I don't really feel like he's rushing anything at the moment. I think his highest fantasy or desire would be for a new start with you and a love connection. But I think that at very bare minimum, he just wants things to be easier and he wants your relationship to be very supportive of one another. You're welcome, Sienna. Are you a werewolf?
No, just a hat on.
Oh. I think you're gonna feel some movement, SB. I think if there felt like there was some stuck energy or things felt a little bit like they were falling flat or stagnant, I feel like you're gonna feel that movement. So there is like a shift coming for your connection. In the last reading, I did have like a transitional period. So I feel like you're gonna start noticing more communication, more effort. Um, and I think it's not just for you, but it's for you and your child. Like, I feel like he's gonna try to be more involved, more of an involved aspect to your family. Yeah, SB, absolutely go for it. Um, so I feel like it's important to him to show you that he's making these changes and he's making this effort and that he's wanting to be more involved or more immersed like with you guys. So checking in with you, those phone calls that he makes might be more frequent. Maybe trying to spend more time to actually visit and spend time in person. There's this like calling that I feel he has towards you guys. You know, if I remember correctly, you know, was a year ago, maybe longer, when I was doing readings for you, it's like he always viewed you as like his family unit. Like, that is my family. And I think I'm kind of picking up on that energy again, of his desire to be and make more of an effort, be more involved. Um, let's see how things play out. I don't necessarily know if this is the year that a love relationship can happen, for you guys, because I think it's a matter of taking things really slowly. But I do think that you could potentially start dating this year. I don't know if this is something that you would like announce to everyone. I don't know if it would get serious this year, but I do think there's that, well, let's see what happens. Let's spend some more time together. Um let's try to rebuild and repair and meet each other where we're at now and who the people that we are now and see what comes of it. There's definite inspiration here, enthusiasm from his side of things. And I see, well, I have the Eight of Wands here. So movement. I kept seeing movement. And now I'm literally seeing it with a card. So I feel like dating is definitely on the table. Okay, perfect, SB. So what can I do for your mini reading? All right, how does he feel? How does he feel for SB? At this point, if he's changed, you'll try with him. Yeah, I mean, I think he's growing and changing as a person. I think also seeing the age, for some reason, your son's age is playing a big factor in this. I keep like channeling that it's like something has hit. I don't know. I don't know if it's him turning 5 or what it is. Because, like, 5, they're still young enough where it's not too far gone, like you can come back from the mistakes that you made at when your child is 5 years old. It might not be like a 100% like totally repaired, cured relationship, but it's not so strained enough or estranged enough that you can't come back from it. And I feel like it's kind of hitting him in a way like, yeah, my kid's getting older, he hit this number, and like, I feel like it's really got him thinking, this isn't the baby stage anymore. I mean, he's still a baby, right? He's still a little guy, but he is like starting to feel to himself like, if I don't start making some changes now, it's like now or never. Because like when my kid's 7, when my kid's 8, 9, 10, like it's time is going to come to a point where I know that my kid, the inner child of my child, is always going to want to have this relationship with me. But the older and older they get, the harder and harder it's going to be to build that connection. And I think he's starting to feel that like clock ticking in a way. And I think for some reason it's something to do with your child's age right now that I keep feeling is the reason why things are starting to like change for him. And I know that if he's a changed person, you'll try again. And that makes sense. It's just like you want to be sure, you want to be sure that this is not just going to be the same thing. All right, so how does he feel about SB? How does he feel about SB? How does he feel about SB? So SB, I feel like he looks at you as like a lucky charm. You're I've made this reference to I think like one other person before, but it's coming through again. You are like his North Star. I think that he compares himself a lot to you as a parent and as a person. And it's like, what would SB do in this situation? Because I feel like he feels like you are the compass. You show him what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, and he compares himself a lot to you in many different ways. When he's needing, guidance on his life, it's like he puts himself in your shoes. What would she do? When it comes to parenting, it's like, what would she do? He might even compare himself and feel inadequate as well as a parent or as a person. But he looks at you as like just this lucky charm. It's just like, if I can get right with her, then everything will be right in my life. And so I feel like there's this pull and desire to want to make you happy. I think, and want to be happy with you. And I feel like he would think himself the luckiest person if he ever got another chance with you. I think that he wonders if he'll measure up, but I think that you are just so special to him, and you almost like you've almost been like a guide to him even when you guys haven't been together. It's just like he looks at you as like this moral compass in his life. And if, as long as he can imagine what it is that you would do in a certain situation, he feels like he has the advice he needs. So it's like you're serving as like a spirit guide to him in a sense. I think that he does wonder if he can, if you guys can step in the same river twice, or whatever the expression is. He wonders if this is like feasible. Like, is this realistic? Could we actually do this again? Would it work out this time? I think that he questions that a lot. But I think that's something that he's willing to take a chance on if you are. How does he feel about us? You have the Empress here. So he feels like you're his ideal woman. You are everything that's right with the world, I feel like, is what he would say. You're nurturing and creative and sensual and beautiful. You're artistic, maybe even you're career oriented. You have your shit together, kind of like, and you offer something so beautiful to a relationship as well. So I feel like he's looking at you as like, oh, that's my woman, like that's my ideal woman. And the Empress also, there's like this energy associated with it of like, that's my wife as well, that's the mother of my child, that's my person. I think that, more than anything, he might have kept his distance just because he questions his ability to measure up. But I feel like he really adores you. I have the Two of Cups here. And so this talks about just really feeling a lot of love for you, feeling happy when he thinks about you, desiring a relationship with you that's based on, you know, romance and love and attraction. I think with the Two of Cups too, there's an indication of like, how far could this go? And, I feel like he could see himself like being your life partner and marrying you as well. So I feel like there's just, it is really nice and sweet. I feel like there's just this, I nothing short of admiration, really. I mean, if I were to summarize this entire reading in a word, um, is that he really, really admires you. And I think that he's someone who actually knows you too. Maybe you're changing and evolving and he doesn't know you as well as he should, but I feel like he feels like he knows you really well, and he feels like he knows you more intimately than most people in your life. And he is still like, I'm appreciating her, like I appreciate her. um so yeah, I mean, it feels very wholesome. It does. I think honestly what blocks your connection is not how he feels for you or your son. I think it's how he feels about himself, honestly. The crazy part is that he looks at you as being so perfect, and you probably think of yourself as like, that's wild, because you're like, I'm not, and you might have a lot of self-criticisms. But I think that the way that he views you is that there's very little wrong with you, and so that's where that comparison comes into play. Hypercritical. Yeah. You know, SB, but at the same time, you probably are the closest thing to perfect, honestly. I mean, it's like Virgo women. I feel certain ways about Virgo men. I think I'm just biased on my experience with Virgo men. I just don't feel like I can rely on them. I think they indulge too much, and they're not. I don't think Virgo men as a whole are consciously aware enough, in my opinion, for me to be compatible with them in any capacity. But I have a strong relationship with a Virgo woman, and that is my sister. And I look at her and think, she has her shit together, man. Like, I do that with her. I will go like, what would Rachel do in this situation? Like, she's just got it all going. She's got a career, she's a mom, she's got this beautiful house, a wonderful marriage. And she gets all these things too. Not only does she succeed, but she also gets them all before me, and I'm her older sister. So I'm over here just like la di da, just floating around and hoping things work out. And she's just so solid, and she's so grounded, and she doesn't mind if her life doesn't vary so much. She likes that stability and consistency. But I look at her and think, like, if she really wanted it, she could have it all. And Virgo women just they feel like perfection. There's such a balance there, and it's like, I'm a mom boss, like I've got my career, but I'm also an amazing mom, and I'm able to be nurturing and caring and thoughtful. And they're also really great wives too. They keep shit in line. They might rule the house. They might be the house manager, but somehow Virgo women are able to just multitask and do it all and get it all done, and then also plan the next vacation and set an itinerary. You guys are just such leaders and powerhouses, and I think Virgo women are very much like underrepresented in a sense of appreciation. They really have it together. And I think the main thing is they have their priorities in order. Like, Virgo women know what's important and where to put the focus on and not deal with the bullshit. So I have a lot of respect for you Virgo women. Now, Virgo men, like I said, on the other hand, that I don't agree. I don't agree with those things, but yeah. All right. Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing better. Thank you. I see that you just donated. Thank you so much. You're gonna be next, I'm working on Rising right now, okay? All right, this is for Rising Storm. It's so weird. I'm like smelling it's like a peppery smell. I don't know if it's like cedar wood or what. Maybe it's like in someone's cologne or something. But anyway, Rising, I'm smelling like a peppery. It's actually like reminiscent of when I was in in elementary school. I made this like gift box for my mom for Mother's Day, and it had like this specific nostalgic smell for me. And I think it's cedarwood, honestly. I really do. But for some reason that smell is coming through right now for me at the moment. Okay, so let's see. Your first question. And graham crackers? This is so random. Okay, so Rising Storm, I am getting a yes and no, which I know it can be confusing. So I wanted to dig into this a little bit more. I feel like this person was starting problems and bringing your name into it. This ex starting problems and bringing your name into it because there's paranoia here and there's also suspicion. I don't think that he took it on his own just to like make this announcement to her and that pissed her off and made her leave. I think that she was getting suspicious and she was getting like paranoid, and so I think she was dragging your name into it and trying to call him out on it. Yeah, I can't remember. Honestly, I just can't remember what this. It's like if I could smell it, I might. And maybe it's sandalwood. No, it's not sandalwood. Sandalwood's sweeter. Yeah, I don't know. It's like a peppery smell. But anyways. Hey Infinity, thank you for the donation. I'll add you to the list. It will be after M wins. So let me update the list in just a second. So yeah, Rising, I don't think that he like volunteered this information, FYI. I think that she questioned him on it. I think that he was beating around the bush about it, but I think he was indirectly communicating it. So for example, if she was like, well, what, do you have feelings for this girl? Like, I think he would have been like, well, I mean, I think she's cute. Like, I mean, what if I did? What if I did? Like, it was very indirect. It wasn't like him volunteering this information, and it wasn't like him answering her directly either. So he wasn't like, I have feelings for this girl. What are you going to do about it? I also feel like when she said, well, do you have feelings for this girl? He wasn't like, yes. I think it was more like, what if I did? How would that be how would that be your business? How would that be your problem? Like, I think it was more like an indirect answer, and it was only because she was being suspicious and paranoid, and so she was like bringing you into it. She's bringing your name into it. So in a sense, I think that's why I got yes and no, because it wasn't exactly the way that you asked it, but it did kind of go down like that. He told her the other day about me saying that there's another woman and that he was taking it seriously. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so maybe that's where her paranoia and suspicion kicked in. Maybe she's trying to like figure out who this person is. Do you know what I mean? Because I have the page sword, so she's curious about this, but she's like jealous curious. Like she's like, I need to figure out who this person is. So she started problems basically just due to her own paranoia and suspicion. And I feel like I've gotten this message before, but and I might have said it to you already, but I'm getting that message again, is that she's like anybody but her. Anybody but her. And I think it's because there's always been this like silent jealousy that she's had about you. Like she can't really put her finger on, but it could just be because of the history that you guys have and what she knows about you. And so you might just be a sore subject to her. And so I feel like she was just like anybody but her, anybody but her. And so I feel like it's like basically things start feeling like her worst fears coming alive. You know what I mean? But it was definitely indirect for sure. It didn't feel like sorry, I'm still suffering from like sinus stuff. It didn't feel like he went out of his way to like rub this in her face. He didn't bring it up himself. And then I think it was more like he was confronted with this, and he was more like, and if I did, what are you gonna do? Like, it's not your business. And so in a way he was feeling liberated by acknowledging these feelings, but it was very indirect. It wasn't like he flat out told her. I think partly because it's not her business and he didn't feel like he needed to justify himself or justify his situation. But I also feel like he's like, it isn't her business. And so she's not obligated or entitled to know in any way. And I'm not going to give her the satisfaction either. Hey guys. So Gina, I know you've been here before, so feel free to donate $5 if you want your question answered. Or actually, I'm sorry, your question is not a yes, no. So Gina, if you want to donate $8 for a mini reading to answer your question, I can do that for you. May, I can answer your question because I know you're a new sub today. And Langland, I will also answer your question because you're a new sub today. The only person I can't answer a question for because our free list is closed is Gina. Gina, since you've been here before, feel free to donate to get your question answered. For a yes, no is 5, and for a mini reading is 8. Any question is okay. So Rising, you said that is why I asked. Okay, good. So I'm glad that I was able to clarify that for you there. I do think that this poses a conflict for her, and I think that this could have been part of the reason why, she left. All right, so let's look into the second question here. How is the ex? Okay, how are they feeling? Okay, gotcha. Let's take a look. Well, the first thing that I picked up is that she's like anybody but her. So I feel like that's kind of how this reading is going to start off, is that you are a sore subject. You are essentially like a ghost haunting her relationship with him. And I feel like she doesn't necessarily want him to move on. She likes having access to him, but she's like, if he's going to go off and do this thing, I think what it is you threaten her. That's what I'm picking up. You threaten her. And It's so funny. I don't know if you've ever seen Gossip Girl, the original one, but there's a couple on there named Blair and Chuck, and they're so toxic for each other, but they eventually evolve and have like a really good relationship and whatever. But that's not the part I'm talking about. The part I'm talking about is he has like such a great like love for her, and she does for him too. But in the times that they're not physically together, like in a relationship, he goes off and sleeps with all these people. Like he's sleeping with this random person over here, he's hiring prostitutes, yada yada yada, and she's living her life. And him having sex with all these people, she's just like, oh, that's Chuck. Like that's just who he is. Like I'm not jealous of that. What I am jealous of is someone actually getting his heart. I'm jealous of someone actually, like him actually having feelings for someone else the same way that he feels for me, or more intense than what he feels for me. She's like, we can't be together right now. We're going to college. We're doing our own thing. We're starting our own businesses, yada yada yada. But when we both feel like we've created the life that we want within our career, then we can be together again. And so she's just like, go do your thing, go be with these other people, go sleep around, do what you want, but do not fall in love. And she doesn't give a shit if he's sleeping around or he's hooking up with all these other people, but she's like, do not fall in love. And I feel like that's what the ex-girlfriend is feeling right now. Is she's like, you can sleep with this person and that person, and you can hook up with this person and whatever. I don't care. But the second that she starts to feel threatened is when she thinks that he could actually fall in love with someone else. And I feel like she feels that about you. I think that she feels very threatened by you because she thinks that his feelings for you or your feelings for him or mutually could surpass the intensity that their relationship once had, and that is severely threatening to her. And so that's why I feel like you guys are a sore subject, is because she's like, do whatever the fuck you want but don't fall in love, and I feel like she thinks that that could happen. So I think that's like the biggest thing, and that's how she's feeling. Is I feel like there's this fear that you could give him the healing and you could give him the love and you could give him all the things that she can't. And I think that that's extremely bothersome to her. I think that is where she starts to feel a little territorial. And I think that she thinks that you can end up making him very happy, and she doesn't. That's intimidating to her for sure. So I think that's why she has like this feeling of, from you, of anyone but her, anyone but her. I don't give a shit. Anyone but her. So, now here's the thing. If it wasn't you, if it's not you and he, moves on to someone else, and someone else starts encroaching on that territory of like he could fall in love with them, she will start feeling the way that she feels towards you, towards this other person. It's just like she is extremely territorial. And it scares her, like, to feel like, I don't know. And I think it's because she wants to have that access to him. She wants to feel like, if I wanted to have him back, I could. Like, so long as I'm the main, so long as I'm number one, it's all good. She's like, all these little girls that you're like seeing or hooking up with or dating on the side or whatever you're doing. Um, I don't give a shit about that because they're not me. And basically she knows that if she comes running to him, if she comes running, that she has the upper hand, and she likes that. She knows that she can get to him in a certain way and scare off all these other girls, all these other people. But she's like, don't fall in love. And I think that's the main message here, is that that's what she's worried about. She was trying to get intimate with him, and so he was getting himself out of this. So he mentioned, oh, I see. See, okay, so that's exactly it. That's what I mean by like feeling threatened. Like she likes to know she has the upper hand and that she can kick anyone out that she wants to because he's like she has the upper hand in that situation. She likes the idea of knowing that if he has a girl over and she comes over, she can be like, get out. And he wouldn't do anything about it. She likes that feeling of power. But if he falls in love with someone else, she can't do that anymore. And that's where things start to feel threatening to her. You're welcome, Rising. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm so glad I was able to see you again today. Have a great night, Rising. If I don't see you again before I head out tonight, I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for your donation. Okay, so M Wins is here. Perfect. May, thank you for checking in. I'm gonna have to get to you. Donations take priority, so I'm gonna have to get to you in between donations. Just sit tight with me, okay? All right. M says, I know that is crazy, Rising. Where could this potentially go with Libra? Where could this potentially go with Libra? New connection. All right, so I see that you guys are definitely going on dates. I see you're hanging out with one another, spending time getting to know each other. The typical questions of like, what kind of music are you into? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, are you close to your family? The typical stuff of like, what do you do for a living? Getting to know one another. Hey Rising, yes, you did. Because you specifically asked like what is the ex feeling of him currently feeling about you. So that's where I was talking about how she's feeling really threatened. She's worried about him falling in love with you, that kind of thing. It was probably like 4 or 5 minutes I was talking about that. And like how she's feeling towards you about the situation because she's worried that you could like take her place kind of thing. And she's feeling threatened by you. I don't know if you remember that, but that was me answering that part of the reading. So I see like a lot spending some time getting to know one another, I think is a big thing. If you guys haven't gone on dates yet, that's definitely in the future. I see multiple dates. Actually, I see at least 2 times where you guys are going to get together and hang out in person. And this does indicate like romantic offers. So I feel like here this could go either way. I think you like getting to know this person. I think the first time getting to know them is like, I don't think you know for sure which way this is going to go. So like for example, if you've had your first date, it seems to me that like after the first date you're like, yes, this is a really cool person, I like hanging out with them, I like their vibe, I like getting to know them. But maybe you're just not like 100% sure like which side you're leaning towards, friendship or romantic. But I feel like the more time you spend with this person, the more clear about that you do get. What could potentially go with Libra? Sorry, Em, I had to. Oh, you're welcome, Rising. You're welcome. I just want to make sure that we were settled up for that reading. Okay. So M wins. I do see here kind of like slow and steady wins the race. Not slow, like meaning you're not going to know your place with this person. It's going to take a long time to figure that out. But it feels like you guys really take your time getting to know one another. Spending a lot of time getting to know one another is going to be really important for your connection. And then I see Six of Wands talking about success in public recognition. So a lot of times when I see this card in relation to a relationship, it makes me feel like you guys are changing your status publicly, meaning that on social media, you might be taking a picture of him while you guys are on a date together and posting that on social media, like in Snap or a story or something. Or you guys work your way into like a monogamous relationship where you're changing your quote unquote status on your profiles, deactivating dating apps, things like that, where like things are becoming more public and more people are becoming aware of your connection. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting. So I feel like it's not like this hidden thing. Like you guys are actually going out and tagging each other in posts and just making your dating life more public. More people are becoming aware of it. That's typically what that card means to me because it talks about public recognition. So you're going out in public where other people can see you. You're changing like social statuses. You're posting about one another. Maybe even changing your relationship status, deactivating where you were once public for dating apps, maybe deactivating dating apps, that kind of thing. So it does feel like to me like things slowly start to evolve into maybe more like relationship territory. I see him like I see you guys like making an offer to one another in that way. So communication is strong. I like where it's going. We both agree. Yes, that's like, oh my god, Em. That's literally what I said. I was like, I see the Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady. It means that you guys are moving forward. You're not moving back. And you're not on pause. You guys are every single day getting closer to each other every single day, but you're not jumping into things like super quickly. You're really making sure that you're taking the time to get to know one another and setting that strong foundation first. Have you guys been on any dates yet? James, thank you so much for the donation. I'm trying not to get too far ahead. I've been single for several years and proceeding with caution. I've been pessimistic about dating and relationships in the past. Last night was our first time meeting. So I'm assuming that you walked away like, this is a really cool person. I want to get to know them more, and probably open to hanging out with them again, but still not sure which way you're leaning, right? Friendship or dating. But with more dates under your belt, it's going to start to become more clear to you. And I'm excited for this journey for you. It's so nice to know that you're getting yourself out there again and like really exploring, another connection. That's really, really nice to see. Yeah, I was like, I feel like they're either about to go on their first date or they just had it. So I'm glad I wasn't far off. I was pretty much right on with that. So that made me feel good. Oh, you matched on a dating app 9 to 10 years ago and stayed in touch. Wow, that's crazy. Maybe you guys are just in a place now where it's like it's time, Wow. So when I said that you guys were building a foundation, almost like a foundation of friendship, like a solid ground of getting to know one another, that was kind of like an understatement because you guys have known each other for a very long time. Oh, thank you, Amanda. I'm excited and kind of scared, but it's a good feeling. You're welcome, Em. Of course, of course. Usually, when you're kind of in that place where, you're proceeding with caution, been pessimistic about dating and relationships, kind of like at your breaking point of like, you know what, actually I don't care anymore. Like I don't care. That's when things sneak up on you. When you start to feel like it's something you don't need anymore. It's something you would love to have, but you're not desperate for, you're not clinging to it in desperation. That's usually the time where shit starts to happen for you because you realize your worth on your own. And a relationship is just supposed to add to your life, not detract from it. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. Definitely check in with us or with me and let me know how it's going. I'm optimistic for you. Okay, so this is for infinity. You're welcome, Em. Thanks for stopping in. This is for infinity. Hopefully no one feels like they're waiting a super long time tonight. I was on like an hour wait on Saturday. It was like 45 minutes to an hour. But today I seem to be getting through the readings like within 30 minutes of donating. So hopefully you guys don't feel like you're waiting too long. All right, how does RM feel about infinity? I'm shuffling for you now, infinity. So Infinity, he's in so you said he's in avoidance. I specifically am asking like his feelings for you, and it is making me feel like he has attraction to you, and that he's interested in you. Page of Cups and Queen of Wands. I feel like this avoidance is intentional. I feel like he's actively trying to not be near you, around you, communicate with you, that kind of thing, because I think he does have an attraction here. Now, why would someone do something like that? They could be avoidant attachment. They could not want commitment and feel like they don't want to lead you on even though they're attracted to you. They could be involved with someone else and feel like they are being unfaithful to that person by having this attraction for you and needing to keep their distance. They could feel like you're too much of a temptation, or you are too much of a distraction, and maybe they have other goals and plans that they need to work on. Maybe they're going to school and they don't want that temptation or distraction. So just because someone is avoiding you doesn't necessarily mean that they just like hate you or don't like you. Um, I feel like this person could like you very much, actually, and that is why they're not communicating with you or talking to you. Seven of Wands indicates that they're trying to stand their ground. They're trying to set their boundaries and draw a line in the sand. For they have their reasons for this, but they're actively intentionally avoiding you because of the fact that they actually like you a lot. Queen of Wands here talks about someone who they find to be very sensual and attractive, and also like a really good person, someone kind, loyal, generous, you confidently, that you're a confident person. They also feel like you're the type of person that attracts the attention from other people. Even if it's unwanted, you turn heads and you attract attention from other people. They probably could feel like you have a lot of other options as well, and that they shouldn't be one of them, at least right now. So, the main thing that I'm getting is that there are feelings here for you, but he is trying to his best to set that boundary. Um, and we have to respect that. You know what I mean? We have to respect that for whatever reason he is trying to keep his distance. That's his decision and his free will. But if you're looking for confirmation on his feelings for you, that is being acknowledged here. Yeah, it does feel like it's intentional for sure. The avoidance. You said he does not want commitment. So I'm sure he views you as someone who he can see himself like changing that stance for. Um, Sometimes when we're not ready for commitment, we meet like a really great person and we see their value and we're like, oh, they're girlfriend material. I can't fuck around with this because I don't want commitment. Um, and so that can be really hard. And also, if you don't want commitment, you can't continue to lead someone on. So in a sense, just be happy and grateful that he has enough awareness and consideration that he's keeping his distance from you, because he knows that he can't give you something that you want. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the mature thing to do, maybe not, but he's just trying to cope with it, and I feel like he feels like this is the best way for him to deal with that. Maybe you're too much of a temptation. Maybe he feels like if he doesn't avoid you, he won't have enough willpower or strength within himself. Some men are just weaker than other people, and like he some men can compartmentalize and go, yeah, I'm attracted to this person, but I don't want commitment, but I can still talk to them and be friends with them. And some men are just way um too much, like lacking too much self-control, and so maybe this is his solution. I don't know. um I was getting a lot of like him standing his ground and like really trying to like stand up for himself, which makes me feel like boundaries. So I wasn't picking up on that specifically. I felt like he did have feelings, especially because I had the Page of Cups and Queen of Wands. So this indicates an attraction. This indicates someone who's interested. But they just can't, I guess, give to you right now the way that maybe they feel like you deserve. They're essentially seeing your worth. They're seeing your value. They're seeing that you're girlfriend material or you're worthy of a committed relationship. And they just don't think they're that person. I feel like if I had the King of Wands, then maybe what you're asking would make more sense. That you like him and maybe he doesn't like you. But there was nothing here about unrequited love. There was nothing here about feeling like you know someone has a crush on you or is admiring you, like a secret admirer. If I saw like the Seven of Swords and the Two of Cups, then I would feel like secret admirer energy. But that's not what I was picking up. I feel like he sees your value and he sees your attractiveness and he sees your worth and he's setting a boundary with it. So that's pretty much what I got. But I always encourage you to cross-reference too with other readers and see if they're picking up the same thing, because extra confirmation on that is always very helpful. May, let me work on you now. Is Langland here? Langland? Langland, if you're here, please check in with me. You're welcome, Infinity. Absolutely. Thank you for the donation. So May, I have the Wheel of Fortune. This indicates a turning point. This indicates that there's a lot of changes that are happening. So for example, but it also talks about like the northern and southern hemisphere, what goes around comes around, that kind of thing. So essentially there's going to be a change, but it's going to be kind of like flipped on its head, like on its axis. It's going to be like a 180. So you have to consider where you guys are at right now. So if right now things are going really, really well, then the shift that's coming might kind of make things more complicated for your connection. If right now you're going through the complications, then this indicates that you guys are going to shift into something much better. So this is a turning point indicating that things are turning around for you, things are changing for you in your connection. And whatever is going on right now, just consider the opposite is on its way. Is Langland here? Langland? Skip for a BOGO. All right, so Rising just donated to put herself at the top of the list. So we have Rising, and then we have James. Oh, James, thank you for checking in. Rising actually... Sorry, James. She did. But I've got you though, starting with a 2. So I'll call on you in just a minute. Sorry, they can't interrupt a reading if I've already started it, but if I haven't started it yet, then they can. So sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Rising said a BOGO with a skip. A BOGO with a skip. All right, Rising. Let me pull up your donation really quickly. Oh no, don't feel bad. That's why I have it in place. It's just what happens, you know? It's the name of the game. Don't feel bad. You shouldn't feel bad. No, Rising, don't stress about it. And the reason why I have the skip the line is just because I have had people, be like, "Oh, I've waited like an hour for my." It doesn't happen often. Like I waited like an hour for my turn, and now my lunch break is over. And I'm like, "Well, why are you getting a reading on your lunch break if you can't be here for your reading? Leave your question with me or not." And then it didn't happen often, but it was happening often enough where I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a pay to skip option. That way, if people are like on their lunch break and they want a reading, they can move to the top of the list, or if they're in a hurry or they got to get their kids ready for bed or whatever it is, whatever the reason is, I want that option to be available because some people don't mind waiting and just hanging around and listening to the live like a podcast. And then some people are like, "Hey, I can't wait around, but I'll leave my questions with you." But what do we do for the people who want their reading to be done quickly but also want to be here for it? That was the only thing I could think of. So don't feel bad. It's there for a reason. It's all fun and games. We're all joking. I don't want you to worry. I just don't want any like stress on that. Yeah, Rising. It's yeah, that's exactly, and that's why it's in place. So don't stress about that at all. I'm shuffling for you now. It's all good. Let's cleanse the air. That is why I have that pay to skip option. So no animosity, no stress, no worries. All right, let's see. First question. So Rising, he could feel, I'm hearing like hard time. Is that part of a Paramore song?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting like a Paramore song stuck in my head. Oh, it's literally called Hard Times for some reason. What's the lyrics to that? So I feel like he's kind of like falling on kind of like he feels left out. Rising, he feels left out. He feels like he's not he doesn't really know what's going on like in your life. Even though I think that he really wants to. And for some reason the song Hard Times is coming into my mind from Paramore, so you can see if that resonates for you or not. But he could feel like your connection has been turbulent in that it has been difficult to sanction or establish a relationship with you. So he could feel like maybe this is like a star-crossed lovers kind of thing where you guys feel like the world is against you and you've never really been able to give it a real shot. Um, let's see. Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm using the word sanction wrong, but definitely feel like establishing. But sanction, it does talk about like a punishment or retribution. So maybe that word came through because maybe he feels like he's being punished. Maybe he feels like karma is here for him or something along the lines when it comes to you. He said, I totally understand why he would feel that way. He did it to himself. Yes. So I have the Four of Swords here, and I do feel like there's a part of him that feels like he would get a lot of peace with you. He looks at you as this thing to be attained, I suppose, of like offering freedom and peace and comfort. And he could put all of his hopes and dreams into your basket because he associates you with like this liberation from the life that he's currently living. And so you're very much a fantasy to him. I think that he, despite feeling somewhat negative, like, because I mean, I'm not saying he's like completely negative, but I feel like he's like, oh man, like the whole world is against me, the whole world is against us. Like, are we ever going to be able to be or to be together? And like you said, this is through his actions, but he is kind of like in this maybe victimized mentality. Um, but I think that despite these like little like, oh, this is frustrating, I feel like he's still trying to think of solutions. I think he's maybe for the first time trying to think of ways to actually fix this or resolve this. I have the Eight of Wands, so this is like him indicating that he might want to take some action. He might want to try to maybe heal your relationship or resolve this connection. I think the crazy part is that a lot of how he feels for you, I think, is a reflection of how he feels about himself. He feels stuck. He views you as liberation. He feels like his life is chaos and he sees you as his peace and his comfort. Or he feels uncomfortable, he sees you as comfort. Like you seem to reflect this other world where the grass is greener from where he's at right now. And I think you just do a lot of highlighting what's wrong in his current life and how things could be better. I do feel like a lot of times we as people could have such minimal interaction with others, but still be such a guide in someone else's life. We view spirit guides or spirit teams as like something that you can't see, but I think that people in life can be a guide to us. And I do feel like even though there's minimal interaction for you guys, somehow you're still helping him to get uncomfortable and to want to change and to want to make changes, especially for himself. And I think that that's actually something really special. He feels like, I know that I said he feels like he's missing out, but I have the actual card here that I associate with FOMO. Um, well, there's two of them. One is the Five of Pentacles, and the other main one is Four of Cups. And both of those cards are here. So I think that he a lot of times regrets his choices. He feels like maybe at a time when you were making advances to him and he was shutting those down, I think that he regrets that. It keeps going back to like your initial communication. where I think that you put yourself out there, and he rejected that because at that time that wasn't something that he wanted or he was ready for. And I think ever since then he regrets that because he thinks to himself, was that my only shot? Was that my only opportunity? And I missed it. Um, and I think too that at the time he didn't want to see it, but I think now, over the last maybe even year, I think he realizes that he jumped the gun with that decision a little bit too quickly, and that maybe he shouldn't have. I think he was just scared. I think that he was worried about what this ex was going to say. I think he was worried about how that was going to come across. I think also you might have been interested in him first. And so I think that he just didn't have enough time to like process all of that. And I think he looks back on that quite a bit, with regret for sure. Let's see. How is he feeling currently? Okay, so you're coming through as the Empress, which is expansion and growth. The Empress talks about you being his ideal woman or his ideal partner, being with someone that like you or that is you. And this desire, I feel, to have a family, a healthy life. The Empress here, they always talk about it, but like women are like the heart of the home. We, anything you give us, we multiply it. You give us ingredients, we make a meal. You give us a house, we give you a home. You give us your sperm, we give you a baby. Like, women multiply everything that you give us. And I think for him, he wants to feel that he has a home and that he has a comfort and that he's being nurtured and cared for and looked after. I think that's important to him, and I think that he thinks with you that that's what he could have. He does a lot of fantasy. The problem with thinking about something is that you're thinking about something so much that you realize you're not actually doing something about it. So I do feel that shift where he's thinking more solution based, more results based, and maybe in more of a place to want to take action. Um, I honestly would not be surprised if like he comes and knocks on your door, to be honest. If he comes and knocks on your door and is just like, "Hey, can you talk?" Like, I know there's been some something here, some confusion and maybe misunderstanding, and also maybe curiosity and maybe tension, and maybe there's like all these things, but like you just seem the kind of person that I would want to talk to. I feel like he's always felt that way about you. So his solution might be to honestly just cut through the bullshit and just create a space where you guys can have that icebreaker with one another. um but I feel like I'm kind of tapping into the next reading, but I do want to conclude that reading with feeling like you are very ethereal and feminine and beautiful to him. So second question, let's see. So you asked like what could happen. Oh, you're asking what could happen between the two of them, not the two of you. Okay, got you. Well, in regards to you, I feel like he could very well just like come and just say, you know what, let's just cut through the bullshit. Let's speak face to face. I think that his current action right now is to overcome self-doubt, to try to find inner strength, inner bravery, not allow fear to debilitate him, and just kind of not think for a minute, because there's a lot of overthinking too happening here. Is that sometimes we just need to stop thinking, we just need to start doing. All right, let's take a look at your second question now. So between all three of you, okay. So I think in a perfect world, what he would want, because I have the Seven of Cups, which again, I already told you he fantasizes things and overthinks way too much. And of course, the first card out is the Seven of Cups. And you read tarot, so you know that's just like reiterating what I've already said. But I feel like in his perfect world, you and his ex get along. I think that you guys co-parent and you are in a relationship with him and everyone gets along well and he doesn't have to worry about any kind of conflict or any kind of trouble or whatever. Unfortunately, the person that he's dealing with, that he chose to have in his life, that unfortunately they're in this place now, that is not the type of person that she is. I don't think there is going to be a lot of peace. I think there's going to be a lot of animosity and a lot of jealousy. Personally, I feel like if she could find someone, which I'm not sensing that person around right now, but I think if she could find someone, that would allow her to officially let go of him. And I think that she just hasn't found that yet. I think she's just too wrapped up in his life, and it's kind of codependent, unfortunately. And so I think that codependency allows for a lot of sabotage and blocks, restrictions from him being able to move on and her being able to move on. And I'm actually getting the message that he's not jealous of her being with other people either. I think it's just strictly her. I think he honestly probably wants her to move on. I think that he dreams of a peaceful relationship with her where they're civil with one another and they're not too overly involved in one another's life. It's like extremely codependent. And I feel like she involves herself in his life way more than is natural or healthy. And I think that he just allows it to happen, even though I think internally and intuitively he's like, I know this isn't right. I know this isn't okay, but what can I do? You know? So there's kind of an issue there because there's never going to be room for someone new in his life until he sets that. Is there another word for boundary? Yeah, until he sets that boundary with her. I think she's like determined to make his life complicated. I think she's determined to make his life confusing and make him feel confused. She likes when he's not assertive. Well, I take that back. When he's assertive, she likes it because there's drama. Because then she can get mad at him about it and then she can find a way to like leech back on into his life. But if he's really setting his foot down and he's really like distancing himself from her, she hates it. And this is like a conflict that unfortunately I see rising. If you were to get into a relationship with him, it's going to heavily require, and I think I need to hear these words, it's going to heavily require him to set his boundary, to stand up to her, to stand up for himself and for your relationship. If you find that by talking to him or getting involved with him romantically, he does not have a backbone when it comes to her, or he makes excuses to you about her, this is not going to work. This is not going to work at all. He needs to be in a place where he can say, fuck off. This is what I'm doing. This is not your business or your concern anymore. And until you start seeing that type of attitude demonstrated by him, it's going to be a problem for your relationship with him. Just throwing that out there. And the main way that you'll know if he's standing up to her or not is if he's making excuses to you about her. You also don't want someone who's always complaining about them either. Like, the other concern is if he's overly complaining about her to you while trying to develop a romantic relationship with you, because to me that indicates passion. That indicates that he's still very codependent on her and overly concerned with her life as well. So you want to watch out for these like red flags. If he's very minimally talks about her while developing a romantic relationship with you, and I'm specifying developing a romantic relationship because if y'all are just friends talking, I feel like this doesn't count. But if he's actively trying to pursue you romantically, but he cannot stop talking about her, that's a problem. If he's minimally talking about her, and when he does, he's standing up for your connection and not making excuses for her, that's the sweet spot. But it's something that you're gonna have to keep an eye on for. But I feel like it's not going to require you standing up to her. You should not be the shield here in the connection. He should be protecting your relationship. I feel like for you and her, it's probably at best gonna be like civil at best. I feel like with her, like, as long as you guys aren't fighting with each other and talking shit about each other, that's probably the best that your connection will be. But that is because of the type of person that she is. I think you could get past it, but I don't think that she will, unless and until she finds someone new. Then things might start to like cool off a bit. You say you're just trying to be friends first. You don't even know exactly. Yeah, so if you guys could break the ice, become friends, and just allow him to let you in a little bit and vice versa, I think that would be a really good way to kind of start their relationship with one another. But maybe, and maybe that's why this has taken so long too, because he needs to get that backbone with her. He needs to be so done with her shit that he's like, fuck this. Like, I honestly don't even care at all about how you feel right now. Maybe he needed to get to that point with her, because otherwise she'd always be interfering with your relationship. Like, if she can interfere with it and stop it before it's even started, imagine like once your relationship is actually going, how much problems it's going to cause. At least if he can be so done with it before you guys get started, then maybe you guys would stand a chance. But you definitely wouldn't if you guys started things up a year ago, 2 years ago, however long ago, it just would not have worked, because you would always be, and then the script would have flipped too, because then instead of her being threatened by you, you would start being threatened by her. So it just wouldn't be good. Maybe this is just divine timing. Maybe it's just best that he really gets her out of his system. That way you guys would actually stand a chance in a relationship. But you're very welcome. Absolutely. If Langland is here, please check in with me. This is a last call for Langland. All right. So, Rising, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed your readings with me. So, we are going to work on James now. James said he wants to start with a love option 2 for him and Patty. And actually, not only am I going to do a last call for Langland, but I'm also, you said you think it's divine timing. Yeah. Yeah. I think that that makes a lot of sense actually with everything you guys have been through. So last call for everything. Last call for new subs to get a free reading. Last call for donations to be put in. Last call for Langland to check in with me. James, I am shuffling for you now. Of course, of course. Oh. All right, love option 2, James and Patty. What is she showing the connection? Thoughts, feelings, intentions. Are there blocks or influences? Overall energy. Ooh, I've got the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. I like to see that. All right. Okay, this is interesting. I have the Tower in the position of her intentions. So trying to get clarity on that because I'm a little bit confused. I don't think that she's here to like set fire to your relationship. So Tower talks about chaos, it talks about change, it talks about upheaval. This could be her just completely like destroying any past conditioning that she's been living or experiencing. This could be her completely like dismantling her belief structures and thoughts and opinions and reactions and coping mechanisms. It could be her trying to just like really start over, or you know, hold on, but the Tower also talks about like epiphanies and revelations too, so her intentions are probably maybe to see past things. I feel like I know I'm not making sense right now, but I'm trying to translate what I'm trying to understand. So give me a second here. Hey SB, that sounds great. You'll be next, okay? Okay, so I feel like James, she can be so set in her ways that I feel like she needs, or she wants to, or she intends to try to throw that all out the window. I think she's trying to dismantle her current perception. Maybe she's trying to be more understanding, see the other side of things, not be so set in her ways or so stubborn. Maybe she's trying to see things from a different perspective, a higher view, if you will, because the tower talks about having revelations and epiphanies. And maybe you feel like if you've been having this one track mind and like only viewing things from this one side, that it's very hard for you to see where other people are coming from. It's hard for you to see the people that are well intentioned, the people that are good. If your perception is that everyone's bad until they prove to you otherwise, then that is what you're going to be shown. And so maybe she's really trying hard to change that perspective. She's trying to change her view on things to maybe help bring maybe more love or understanding or compassion in her life. And maybe she's going through a lot of changes right now that's bringing some revelations to mind. She could have been really stuck in a certain way of doing things, and now she's like opened up to a whole new reality, a whole new it's kind of like people who just complain, and then they hear this like motivational speech about how if you consciously make an effort about complaining less and being more grateful, you'll have more things to be grateful for. Maybe something she read or heard or listened to, or something you said to her has like suddenly clicked and everything is changing, and she's like, I don't want to be a complainer anymore. Again, this is an example, but she's like, I don't want to be a complainer anymore. I want to be someone who's more grateful and more present. So I feel like something was said to her, something she read, something she saw, and it's making her want to be more intentional. It's making her want to be more present, less stubborn, deal with things differently, be more open to putting herself in other people's shoes. She can be more compassionate and understanding. There's like some type of intention here of like, I'm ready for a full body shift. I'm ready for a full world shift. I'm ready for, something to be different in my life. I feel like what she's giving to the connection, Page of Cups, is cooperation. She's trying to be more cooperative, more compromising, more involved. The Page of Cups is like kind of like fun and flirty, and I think that she just gets really stuck in like her comfort zone, her way of being that is true to self and is authentic to her, but she's a little bit scared too to get out of her shell. And I feel like with the Page of Cups as what she's giving the connection makes me feel like she's wanting to get a little bit spontaneous or adventurous or flirty or fun, kind of like be something that she's not naturally, but knows that it can be a part of her if she just would try it out for size. It feels almost like she's on this like new self-discovery of who she is. It's like she's trying on it's reminding me of this poem that I wrote, but she's like trying on these different outfits for size to see what she likes. So, and when I say outfits, I mean personalities. When I say outfits, I mean the type of person that she wants to be. Does this feel good to me today? Does it feel good to be this? Does it feel good to be happier? Does it feel good to be flirtier with James? Does it feel good to me to be more loving and open and affectionate with him? You know, or does that not feel right? Do I just need to stick with what I know? Like I feel like she's trying on these different quote unquote outfits for size. She's trying to see what feels right to her. And she's interested, and she's, I think, also trying to show you that she's making more of an effort, or trying to make more of an effort, um, in hopes that you see that from her as well. Thoughts and feelings here. Let's see. Thoughts and feelings. Thoughts, we have Seven of Wands. Feelings, we have the Fool. Um, she does still want to make sure that while she's trying to become more open-minded, that she still feels a sense of identity, and she doesn't feel like she's losing herself or losing her control. I think that's very important to her, is that she doesn't feel like she loses her sense of self. Now, she struggles with this comparison of like growing and evolving versus losing her who she is, losing her identity. She doesn't want to change for anyone. She doesn't want to lose herself in a relationship, but she's not, or she hasn't up until this point understood that you can still be yourself and have a sense of identity and not lose yourself in a relationship. But also, if someone points something out to you that and tells you about yourself, you can change that aspect of yourself to help you grow, to help you become a better person, to help you change. And it doesn't mean you're losing yourself. As a matter of fact, it means you're finding yourself in a relationship. She has a very hard time letting that guard down. So it's like she tries so hard to hold on to this identity that may no longer be who she is anymore. And so these are some thoughts and feelings that's going on in her mind. And I think that she's really just trying to navigate through this alongside you, James. I feel like she is trying things on for size. She's trying to see what feels good, what feels right, what feels like, and I think she's doing it for the benefit of your relationship, because I think that she wants to be a better person for you and for herself, and she wants to show up um, more willing. But yeah, so I think right now the key word here is transformation. I feel like she's going through some type of metamorphosis within herself. And I feel like right now is like the cocoon stage. She hasn't quite emerged yet, but she's ruminating on things at this time. Um, the only influence I'm seeing right now is that they're seeing big changes heading your way, James, with her. Big changes and opportunities. She may be in a mindset, or you might be, where you guys are like carpe diem, seize the moment, seize the day. Isn't that the expression? Where you want to be a little bit more spontaneous and do things a little bit more impulsively, be more direct with one another and more honest, and really just try to build that connection and have fun with one another. The overall energy we have is abundance, Queen of Pentacles. So I think that's a very good sign for your relationship, indicating a lot of growth that's happening alongside this change. I think that for her feeling, being the Fool, is that maybe she's ready to be a little silly, for lack of better terms. Maybe she's ready to be a little bit like, just let herself loose a little bit. And what's crazy is that by trying these things on for size, being a little bit this that one day, and being a little bit that another day, she's not actually losing herself or losing her identity. She's becoming more of herself, because she's becoming a more free, liberated version. I think that she just is not she's just so used to being in her shell, and she doesn't realize that being out of her shell is also being true to herself too. So I think that she's embarking on like this new way of being, this change, and that maybe you're helping her with that. Maybe in a lot of different ways you're helping her. But I think that she's excited for what's to come. And I think she's excited for these changes. And I think that she's giving herself permission to be someone different every day. You know, she's giving herself permission to do that. You know, they say, like, oh, well, once you're, be careful what you're good at because you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. Like, when someone gives you a title, then you feel like that's your identity and you feel like that's what you have to do forever. People don't realize you can reinvent yourself every single day. Like, tomorrow, I can wear like all black clothes and black lipstick and try goth on for size, and the next day I can try preppy on for size, and then the next day I can be something in between. It's like you can reinvent yourself every single day. You don't have to be the same thing. Just because you've never wore something like this before doesn't mean you can't. And I think part of this is just her giving herself permission. Like, I've never been a super flirty person, but maybe that is a part of me that actually like exists, and maybe that is something that I want to do, even though it's uncomfortable. Maybe being affectionate's not easy for me, but it doesn't mean I'm not capable of affection, and it doesn't mean it's not a part of me. And maybe I should try to come out of my shell a little bit and do that a little bit more. So she's just like here trying to find herself and alongside her relationship with you. Yeah, I think she's used to relationships where she lost herself, whereas I want for her to be her most empowered self. Exactly, James. It's 100% essentially like bottom line. What this reading was about was her realizing that. And so she's trying to find that empowerment in discovering herself and being better versions of herself than the day before, than the day before that, than the day before that, and figuring out what parts of her personality she wants to wear that day. What, even if it's uncomfortable, even if she's not used to doing it a certain way, doesn't mean that it's not a part of who she is or not a part of something that she, you know, can't be if she wanted to. Good, I'm glad. That makes me really happy. So James, I think you also wanted 2 mini readings. So if you're ready, I'm ready for them. All right, let's take a look. I already talked about doing workshops together. So let's have a look. James, she's definitely coming around to the idea for sure. I think this can happen this year, actually. I see here with the Queen of Pentacles is that she's actually coming around to it because she's ready to expand a part of herself than what she's used to. She's been in her comfort zone for a very long time, and I think she's ready for something, to nurture something new, to nurture something different. It's kind of like the sense of where, like, when you know you want to be a mom, you start to like get more there, you just start to get signs and feelings, and you realize you want to nurture something other than yourself. And that's kind of like what I feel like is going on with her, is like she's starting to get these feelings of like, I'm destined for more. I think, James, really it just requires you giving multiple exposures to her. So you've brought it up before, maybe you've brought it up a couple of times. I think just keep bringing this idea up to her so she can get used to the idea, because I really do think that she's coming around to it. And I think that she's starting to feel unsettled in herself and in her soul. And she's realizing that she's destined for more than what she's currently doing. Not that this isn't still her passion, what she's doing right now, but that there's something more that she can add to it. And I feel like that's where you can kind of start to get a little bit uncomfortable, when your soul is like, knows that you should have been doing something a long time ago and hasn't yet. You start to get very unsettled in your life and start to feel like antsy. And I do feel like she's getting to that point where she's feeling like she's Queen of Pentacles, where she like needs to nurture something else and do something more and add more to her life, because she's starting to get unsettled in the life that she's living and she's craving something else. So I definitely feel like with the help of you, um, bringing up these multiple exposures to her, like every once in a while, talking to her, maybe not every time you see her, but like every once in a while, bringing up the workshops, I think it's making her come around more and more to the idea. And I do see here Nine of Pentacles indicating that she's looking for something to make her feel more fulfilled, make her feel like she's making a bigger contribution, maybe even helping her pocket out a little bit more, like maybe lining her wallet a little bit more, and just doing something that really overall makes her feel fulfilled, I think is key here. And I think that she's starting to feel it intuitively, that she needs something to nurture. She needs to create and do something else, do something different. And like I said, I do feel like that this could start this year with her. Let's see, how will it go? How would this go when they start the workshops together? How will this go? Wow, 10 of Cups. So this talks about being in full alignment with your purpose and where you're supposed to be in life. There's certain moments in our life where we're like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And that those moments feel so significant. They're like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I have worked so hard for. This is where I am supposed to be. And that's the embodiment of this card. And that is what it's going to feel like doing these workshops together, is finally feel like you guys are where you're supposed to be, doing what you have always felt called to do together. And 10 of Cups is like in perfect alignment with your soul's mission. And 10 of Cups also talks about not only feeling that alignment and harmony, but also like having fun doing what you're doing, feeling joy, feeling optimism, feeling happy. This card also always makes me think of like music and dancing and being creative, and that feeling of like when you're just feeling very energized. So I think that there's a lot that you guys can get out of this doing this workshop together, and I think it will go really well. I think there's a lot of happiness here, and feeling of pride, feeling of satisfaction by making this decision. What do we feel a time for Patty and I to officially be boyfriend and girlfriend? Okay, let's take a look at this here. You're untangling those knots. I remember when I made that comparison is like knots in a chain. You're untangling these knots. It's actually making me feel almost like you're untangling timelines too, which is really weird because don't they say in like quantum physics or something that there's like knots in time? But it feels like you are untangling, like you started off this life together with like a certain number of knots, and it's like keep untangling them, and eventually the whole chain will be clear of knots, and then you guys can live blissfully happily for the rest of your life. But you're still untangling these knots right now. But the best part is that every time you untangle one, there's one less that you have to untangle, and you get closer and closer to a link free chain or a not free chain. So I feel like we're working on it. You said you've been doing the violet flame, and that's what it's about, clearing karmic debt. No shit, that's crazy. I feel like I've heard of violet flame before, but I didn't know that that's what that was. So you're like untangling past timelines, the karma from past timelines. Wow. That's interesting. It's weird how I get these like metaphors in my readings, and somehow it seems to translate to what you're doing. I'll have to look into that. That's pretty cool. Healing past timelines, present and future. Yeah. That's what it seems like kinks in a chain, and you guys are like untangling them step by step. I know, that's crazy. All right. For James, what do we feel a time frame for Patty and I to be officially boyfriend and girlfriend? Time frame for them, please. Yeah, and like that's kind of like the feeling, James, right? Is that you're untangling all of these knots, and then eventually it'll be clear to where it catches up to your current lifetime, you know? In this current lifetime, like once you've like the last knot honestly is probably like your relationship up until this point kind of thing. Is that the last knot is like this lifetime. You sent me the link on IG of the course you're taking. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. What's the timeline or time frame for Patty and James to be officially boyfriend and girlfriend, please? Time frame. So I remember before when you asked this, probably a couple of weeks ago, I was picking up on the end of the year. And I think you have shifted it up. I am getting that it's going to happen this year, so I asked a specific time frame, and I am hearing April 21st to May 20th. April 21st to May 20th. I think by June, you'll be able to say that she's your girlfriend again. It's like Taurus season. King of Pentacles. June time frame. April 21's the party. What? That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's the first day of Taurus season. Let me see. What day does Taurus season start? Oh, yeah, it starts on April 20th. So, yeah, Taurus season. Yep. I think by June, you'll be able to say she's your girlfriend. That's what I'm feeling. So, we'll see. We will see. But I did ask if that was for this year, and I got a yes. So before I said anything, I wanted to make sure that we weren't looking into, like, you know, a different year or whatever. All right, James. Hopefully I answered your questions sufficiently. Let me know if I missed anything. It is. Yeah, it is. All right, we are shuffling for SB. SB is saying that she wants some messages from her person. You're welcome, James. Have a great night. Okay, this is for SB. I'm doing my last reading of the night, and then I will be signing off. Did it ever rain?
I don't know. I think it did a little bit.
All right, SB. So I feel like he's saying I have a confession. I feel unclear about where we stand at the moment, but I feel like a part of me is missing without you. I feel like you guys are like that puzzle piece for me in my life. You just fit, and I do feel like a part of me is missing when I'm not near you guys or around you guys, and that's something that I have felt for a long time. I've just never really been able to put my finger on it or understand exactly what that was, but there has been this void in my life. We are both hurting from this, not being together all this time. everything that we have been through. You haven't gone through it alone, even though it might feel like you've gone through it alone. I've been over here also feeling similar things and similar pain. Um, that's hard for me to get over the past, but that's on me. That's my problem. Um, that's something that I'm gonna have to work through because I had been struggling to find the right path, but I feel like there's a huge part of me sometimes that makes me wonder if you're my destiny, if you're what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I wonder if we're going to be able to make our way back to one another because I'm not happy with how things are right now. I want more. And I feel like we still have things to resolve and discuss. I want to have equal give and take. And I always feel connected to you. Hey, SB. I just started yours a few minutes, or maybe like a minute or two ago. So if you want to scroll back, feel free to do that. I feel like SB, he's like saying to be continued. Like I feel like there's more to this, and he feels like you guys like leave things on a cliffhanger all the time. It's kind of a funny message. Like he's always like TBD, TBC, to be determined, to be continued. But yeah, I pulled I think a couple extra cards. Then I pulled a little more than 6. I was just kind of doing like a mini channeling for you. So that is what I have for you, SB. I am going to go ahead and end it there, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. Thank you so much for everyone's donations. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.